Hey guys, this is Lemongrass. I fucked up the intro to this one, but basically, I've got a 13 kill game that I'm going to dissect for you. And so this one's played in a Kv1 on the map Ensk. I hope you enjoy. How do I start? So basically, she's on the map Ensk, and there's a couple things that I really like about the replay, and there's a couple things I don't. Now, in a Kv1, if you're ever on the map Ensk, there's going to be a couple things you kind of need to look out for. You don't need to look out for already in a map like this, because by default, you're going to go to the city unless you're a really good player and can make the educated decision to go to the field or something. But you go into the city, and what you want to do is you want to look at the enemy team to try to figure out who you're going to fight, right? And so I do this in all my videos, try to figure out who's going to be there. Now, their team has an Excelsior Kv1 25 TP and a few, like a B1's a heavy tank as well. And basically what you do is like say, okay, where do heavies go on this map? And if you don't know, watch where your teammates are going, because that'll give you a clue, right? So we've got a Kv1 BDR, heavies are clearly going over here. There's also some mediums who are going over here, and so you'd expect some mediums on the enemy. Basically, actually, this whole team is going over here, and it kind of gives you a hint of how this game is going to progress, because Veronica's whole team goes over here. The entire enemy team gets here as well, and that's why this is a replay that I'm featuring on my channel, because what she's doing is she's taking a top tier tank to where the entire enemy team is, and it's going to work out. Now, Veronica's not shooting gold, and right here there's an Excelsior in front of her, so she's put 3 shots into this area. I think HE would be smarter in this context because it was orange. You're never really going to see she didn't pen the Excelsior at all. HE, she carries 14 of them. In my opinion, would be the right choice right here instead of just trying to go for the turret ring. One of the turret ring shots pen, but if it was HE, she would have had more damage at this point anyway. So BDR is blocking the shot. Veronica shoots him. I don't blame him, but also I don't blame the EBR for how he's playing. Veronica has to move up. So with the Excelsior falling back, coming to this angle is a good one. And she doesn't do a very good job of watching her surroundings, so I kind of have to do it for you. Basically, this is how she's poking right here. So she has a 2 mark. She's a decent player. And what she does is she holds this camera angle the whole time. And she's not moving her mouse when she pokes in or out. She's only, like, she aims on a tank, basically, and then she presses W and S, and the tank will drive into where she's aiming it, basically, and that actually makes her shot really easy. If you're going to play like that, if you have trouble aiming, once you figure out where a tank silver plate is, just do what she was doing right here, and you'll see she'll do it again when she continues to poke. But as she gets nothing on the 25 and the people flanking here, she's going to pop out when she gets the chance, and then when she so she shoots, she's not moving her mouse. Her hand's literally off the mouse when she reversed because she was getting ready to shoot the Excelsior again, and then she's just going to repeat that move because it actually makes aiming a lot more easy. And if you see how Veronica's playing, she's not the fastest aimer in the world. Now, I saw a tree in this clip right here. I don't know if you can see this, but a tree just fell right there. And that's going to kind of give her, there you go, another one just fell. And that, if she saw that, she would know there's probably a tank destroyer or something back there. The enemy team only has 2 TDs. So it's either the Su-85B or the Su-85. And because the T-28 is pushed to the 0 line, it implies that it actually could be both, I guess. But you basically know someone for sure is back there. The Su-85 got lit, so you know it's the Su-85B. Now, Veronica pokes out. She hasn't got a single kill yet. And that's what this replay is about. And she gets her first kill on the Excelsior. And so what she's doing is she's just poking this angle. Now, you couldn't really do this in most tanks in the game. The Kv1 has really good armor, right? And so by only showing this part of her tank, really, to a lot of angles, makes things a lot easier. It makes it hard for these tier 5 tanks to pen her. No one's also been shooting gold at her, which is great, because it's a Kv1, and that thing typically will suffer when you start getting shot at with gold. Now, Lago pokes on her, and I think it's after this shot she just starts to push in. I think, well, setting him on fire was great. That's the 2nd kill or 3rd kill of the game. Pushing in at this point makes a lot of sense, because what's happening is they've won the field, so you don't need to go back to base or anything like that. Top tier heavy, might as well start driving in, especially if you're on full HP. Now, what she's doing here is she's just, the Panzer III gives her a kill, basically, and she's now up against a B1. Now, looking at the map, she doesn't have to worry about flanks or anything like that, and this is where I start to kind of have issue with the play. This play right here against the B1, to me, it's very risky. If these enemies were competent at all, in this case, like this Kv1 could totally shoot at Veronica, and the Kv1's not even looking. So Veronica's here, they're not penning. That's understandable. These tanks can't flank her, so her position relative to the tier 5s and 4s she's fighting is great, but the Kv1 should be doing more, and that's where I would say, like, look, you're getting lucky in this instance, because none of these tier 4s, like the T6 medium and the B1, would never pen her, but the Kv1 should have challenged her, and he's just being a bot. So that's where I would say she got lucky at this point. She's just going to drive up to here, and right now she's being held down against him. Kv1's clearly not the greatest of players, and this is where she decides, like, look, I'll start to maybe take hits to move in and just try to get more kills right here. So this is a good call. I always advise you do this. If you're on full HP, use your HP to get damage. And by just starting to move in, letting herself get shot once to be closer to the enemy team, she's getting herself a better game. So 8 kills at this point, that's a Redley Walters. And now what she's doing is she's going to... Well, she actually has the decision. She can go after the Skoda T24, or she can go after the 25 TP, SU85, and Matilda. Now, the better play in this case is actually to go after these tanks and not the Skoda who's flanking her team, because she's going to get more damage. She gets to fight more tanks by being here. So she YOLOs the 25 TP, gets a kill. This is exactly what I mean by using your HP to get damage, basically. She's just driving into here, no caution. She's able to pick up her 10th kill with the kill on the SU-85. She's got a tank behind her, and that's what I mean by no caution. The SU-85 is in front of her. She's probably going to get the kill right here. She does. That is 11. And then from here, the Skoda's in front of her, and she's already got her turret pointed in that direction, so she's going to look for the shot. The Skoda just pokes out and gives her the kill. Oh, no. She misses the shot because the Skoda's basically going to poke out again. She gets the kill right there. She's up to 12 kills. Now there's the Matilda behind her, and she's kind of turning her tank and turret at the same time to get the gun around, and that's her 13th kill of the game. So there's a couple things that, if you were watching this, I would not suggest you copy her exact plays. And the reason for that is when you see her start off, basically, I think this position initially was actually quite good. She obviously got stopped by the 14 TP, and that either forced her willingly or unwillingly to play this angle right here. I suspect it's willingly because she stopped and she's ready. She knows that this angle exists. You can see the 14's kind of blocking her shot, but I think this is a decent position to start off. Main thing is just shoot HE here or gold, but she's not carrying gold, so whatever. So after these shots go in, the play that irked me about this game, not this cross, I totally get it, like going to get damage, whatever. I think this poke has to be a bit more cautious. I don't think you should really poke on like 5 tanks like 3 tanks right here like she does without checking the angle. So a lot of times when I mentor people, if you watch how she pokes right here, they will actually poke just like Veronica does. Okay, what you can do with your camera in this situation is you can kind of, if you're careful about it, the replay fucks it up, but you can actually look around corners, right? So at least right here, you can look around the corner. And what I would do if I was in her situation is I would be sitting here and I would be looking at the Panzer 2040. You can't exactly see where their guns are pointing, but you can watch for smoke to tell if they fired. So you can tell, like from this angle, I saw the P26 fire, and Veronica just happened to poke through no knowledge of her own on the P26. So that's how you could have done this better if you were in her position. And what worked, the reason this worked is because they were busy focusing on the BDR. So you could maybe like go off of the inference, like, okay, the BDR's here, the enemy will be shooting at him, and then poke if you can't see this information, but you can just look around the corner in this place. Now the angle's really good. This is a 45-degree angle, so it makes it really hard for things to pen her until they start shooting golden. So side scraping would be the choice in this position. You can see the Kv1 gets lit. This guy's basically not a very strong player, but he falls back the second it happens. And so if this were to happen to me, I would be poking now. I wouldn't expect the Kv1 to poke, and you can see my positional play is a bit impatient, but there you go. So when Veronica notices that he gets bored, this is kind of where it's like, bruh, this poke will get you killed frequently in this game, because what will happen is you'll get perma-tracked and your ammo rack will be towards the enemies, and you can see it works out. Like, the Excelsior doesn't penetrate her and doesn't ammo rack her. You can see the Excelsior basically is not... He's shooting at the lower plate in that angle. So the Excelsior doesn't know how to aim very well. This happens in Tier 5 games. Like, I'm not going to hold them to the standard of Tier 10 players, basically. So as they poke, you can see her position works well. I would either be reverse side scraping or side scraping. Probably side scraping because the Kv1's position, if you were reverse side scraping in this angle, it would suck. And then she pushes through, and I really like, actually, the rest of the game. I think really lucky to get as many kills as she did. But it's not like she made any grave game-throwing mistakes, and if you play a lot of games, she has 3,000 games in her Kv1, you will get these types of results eventually, right? So that's the game. I hope you enjoyed this replay. Let's go take a look at the end plates, and we'll go from there. All right, so this is the end plate. You can see it's actually one of the highest kill games on What Replays. I just basically sorted What replays by frags, and this is the 13 kill game. So fucking wild. To do 13 kills in a KV1 is incredible. She got a mastery badge. How could you not with that type of game? Almost 4,000 damage, which is something, if it's really well played, I will consider posting that on YouTube, because it's like if you get really shitty matchmaking and still manage to do 4k damage on Ensk and a Leopard 1 or something, it's like people should see that, right? So 4k damage in Tier 5 tank is wild. 13 frags, and she ended up coming first place on the team. How could she not? The person below her did 800 damage, so really good job to these tanks back here. And that's a Hetzer, not a Jagdpanzer. Oh, Panzer 38T. I guess it's on that hull, eh? So, okay. So yeah, that's the replay. Really good job. She ended up firing 35 times, 27 of them penned, 34 of them hit, and, didn't have to drive very far. So what I was going to say is if you're in a slow tank like the Kv1, your great games are going to come from this type of game where the entire enemy team comes in front of you and you just dominate them through skill. Now, in this case, she clearly had a skill advantage over her enemies. I don't think it would work against most enemies because most enemies will press 2, right? But in this case, none of them were shooting gold, and she was able to just out-angle them, basically. And if you're able to do what she did relative, you're going to have a good game, right? So that was a really good replay, all things considered. I commented on what I thought she did well, what I thought she didn't. And yeah, that's the video. If you want to see more, be sure to like and the subscribe button. If you watch to the end and you want to buy my mentoring services, I do offer that. I'll link all the details in the description with my schedule, so you can just purchase a time that works for you. And yeah, thanks for watching. Bye for now.